What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker.
Amir, Rahimi.
And this week on The Great Debaters, we're going to do a top 3 on a soundtrack and one that I think is very slept on, which is why Amir and I are going to talk about it. Who's the man? All right, Amir, so we're back here on The Great Debaters. As always, for those that don't know the routine, please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there and it's free. Enables us to keep coming to y'all as often as possible with as many interviews as possible, episodes of The Great Debaters, 1st and 15th, and other things that we got going on here on Unique Access. So please hit that subscribe button. Right next to that is join. There's 3 different tiers. You could support us that way if you're so inclined, and we would appreciate that. Now, Amir, Who's the Man soundtrack. I must say, disclaimer, I've never seen this movie. I wanted to, I hope to, but every time I've tried to see it, something worked out to where I didn't end up seeing it. But I've listened to the soundtrack many times ever since it came out. So hopefully I'll get to see the movie one day, which is a big blemish on my record. But I'm excited that we're talking about the music because this is a soundtrack. You know, rap had so many great soundtracks, really starting with, even though it wasn't a rap movie, starting with the Color soundtrack on up. So I'm glad when we do talk about soundtracks because I think it's a missing part of what goes on with the music and the culture now, because these used to be such big deals, and these soundtracks would go gold and platinum because they were so potent. So, who's the man? How and why did you get into this soundtrack, Amir?
I think, honestly, one of the main reasons why I got into it was because of the movie Notorious, actually. Okay. So, actually, I'm not a big fan of that movie, but big fan of Notorious B.I.G. And I remember at that point, I'd owned Biggie's albums and I listened to them and all that, but I didn't have all the non-album cuts and some of the looser songs that just weren't on his solo albums, or like Junior Mafia stuff or other projects he was featured on. So I'd actually first heard Party and Bullshit, one of my picks, from the Notorious movie because it was played in the movie in one of the scenes. And I was like, what song is that? And then I'm like, oh, well, it came out before Ray died. It's one of his earlier songs, blah, 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 blah. And it's on the Who's the Man soundtrack. So then I sought out the soundtrack and I bought the soundtrack. And then obviously, it's one of the best songs on the compilation soundtrack. Picked it up, and I just kept listening to it. I mean, Easy Mo B and Biggie have a lot of great songs, this being one of them. I think Biggie's just flow is just exceptional on the song. So good. The beat is not like, it's not too much. You're just hearing Biggie like really flow over it. The chorus is extremely simple, just party and bullshit, like super simple. And then Biggie's rhymes are awesome. And I really like also where in the third verse where he's rapping, and then he says, a fight broke out, and then you hear the scuffle for a few seconds, and then he comes back. It just seems like Biggie just has complete control of the song, and someone who this early in his catalog has this much mic presence and comfort and just command, I think was evident. And then also with some of his lyrics, I think it's like the pre-Big Papa, because he says, where he basically says, because in that song, Big Papa, where he says, I see a gun up in your waist, please don't shoot up the place. It's very similar to what he's saying, like a fight broke out, like chill. I just want to hook up with this girl, like Lil Sean and all that. So I just thought that was similar to Big Papa. I can see, like, the 93 aspect of it. It's just a really good song. One of my picks. Yeah.
That's not one of my picks.
I'm shocked. All right.
Not one of my picks, even though, of course, I like this song. But mine is What's Next on the Menu will be my first pick. P-Rock and CL Smooth. And I just thought, production-wise, this song is phenomenal. I thought the Something Funky sample from Big Daddy Kane, a little-known B-side from his Prism record days, I thought was amazing. And then I'm a big fan of scratching for those people that watch Unique Access. So the beat is phenomenal. The bringing in Big Daddy Kane, one of the all-time greats, one of my favorite artists, one I think the best artist of all time. And then when you also realize it's an obscure Big Daddy Kane thing, and there's so much scratching, and it's Big Daddy Kane, and his beat, and the horns, right there, just magic, phenomenal stuff all layered together. And CL Smooth, of course, does a great job on there with his rhymes, and I thought clever, smooth, vivid, exciting, all that type of stuff. P. Rocket's on the mic. So that song is just what's next on the menu. Is just one of those songs that always makes me smile, as I am right now talking about it, because just the feel and the sound and of course the horns on there, but just everything about that song I think works so well and so flawlessly that it's one of those songs where had they just put an instrumental of the same song right after it, I'd still be excited to listen to it because of all the brilliance that Pete Rock and CL Smooth bring to it. And man, this era of Pete Rock and CL Smooth and their soundtracks and B-sides and stuff that was harder to get, I thought was often, if not usually, as good or if not better than some of the actual singles they put out on their albums. So that's my first pick. Amir, what's your second pick?
Second pick is going to be the title track, Who's the Man?
All right.
And also, in case you guys didn't notice, the Party and Bullshit single is behind us. So that was the cover for that. This is the cover for my next pick. Another single from the album, Who's the Man? From Who's the Man soundtrack. House of Pain. I just really like the aggressiveness on the song. Really like the production as well. Lethal and Everlast, and really like the chorus too. I mean, just the sample, Who's the Man? Whenever I hear that, I love it, and it also reminds me, because The Chronic was one of the first albums I'd ever heard. So whenever I hear that, it also just reminds me of that track, A Brother with a Gun. So that great song right there too. But yeah, man, I like the aggressiveness. I really like this kind of rapping. I think Everlast is awesome, and definitely one of my picks. Also, interesting how they got like the title track. I think that's interesting. I mean, if I recall, their first album came out in '92, and that, I mean, Jump Around was just so freaking huge. So I don't doubt that they would get the honors of having that song, or maybe because Lethal and Everlast were like making the beat and were like, oh, we can sample this, and maybe they came to the table with that first. It's always interesting to see, like, to not know the background and to kind of just guess. So some interesting things there, but really great song. That's my second pick.
Who's the Man's also one of my picks for my top three. Everything Amir was saying, and I think in particular the beat from Lethal and Everlast, I just thought was pretty phenomenal, because it has that intensity and muscularity that I like so much with some of the harder rap that I like, and that is a great example of it. I liked Danny Boy's verse after Everlast, Danny Boy coming in, just because both he and Everlast have very kind of unusual styles, and Danny Boy used to say yo back in the day, yo. So I was Danny like, Boy. Okay, shout cool. Out. But they have very particular distinctive styles when they rhyme, and I thought Who's the Man, the song, was one of their best songs, period, is House of Pain. And of course Danny Boy's not on Jump Around, but to hear him showcased and to see him showcased in a way that he wasn't on, of course, Jump Around, one of the biggest, most ubiquitous songs in rap history. But to see him shine, I appreciated and enjoyed. But again, as it often does, the foundation of it is the music and the beat, which I thought was amazing. And with the different organs and the different things they bring in during the chorus and the changes and stuff, I really enjoyed and appreciated. So Who's the Man is my second pick. So Amir got my second pick. Now, what's your third pick on the Who's the Man soundtrack?
Third song. Well, it is tricky. Just because I do have here another single, Hidden Switches, which is fighting for my number 3, but I'm going to go with a different song. I'm going to go with Father MC's cut, Pimp or Die. Now, I was listening to this album, and, there were some names that I was, usually in these soundtracks, and me and Soren will cover more of these soundtracks for our people who are watching the channel. But we'll do more. But usually in these soundtracks, you have like half hip hop or maybe 60% hip hop artists or whatever, and then you get some R&B or maybe you get just some just different genres, right? They're soundtracks, so it can really vary. So I'm looking at the people, and I'm like, okay, I'm really excited for this one. I'm kind of excited for this one. I'm curious about this one. Well, Father MC is actually an artist who I hadn't really heard prior to this. I hadn't owned his albums. So when I saw Father MC's name, I was like, all right, well, I've heard of Father MC, seen him referenced and mentioned, so let's check this out. When I heard this come on, because I'd seen his album covers, and they look very R&B in style of how the photos are shot.
Oh, they are.
So that's another reason why I hadn't listened to him at this point. So I hear this song, and I'm like, holy crap, this guy's actually like Pimp or Die. He's actually rapping really aggressive, really he's a very good rapper. Just off hearing that song alone, I was like, this guy can rap. And then I'm just like, Pimp or Die? What? But his album covers look like R&B, so I'm like, the Pimp thing was tricking me a little bit. So when I listen to his albums coming up, we'll probably do his albums too, I'm really going to be able to see what the differences are. But this song, man, he is going hard. He's really, player with it. He's talking about, yeah, I'm in my car. The ladies, they can't get enough of me. They're calling me in my car. He's saying, I get my nails done, baby. All these things. And he's just, talking about his looks, how he gets women, how he's constantly getting women, whether through phone in hand, beeper, whatever, or in the car. Right. It doesn't matter. So he has, the charisma, but... subject matter is one thing, but I think his actual delivery is really what drew me to the song. The chorus where he's saying Pimp or Die is also pretty fast and stuff, but man, his verses, I remember when I first heard this was just the album or the song that caught me off guard, where I was like, oh shit, I was most excited for this Biggie and this House of Pain and this Eric Sermon and the Pete Rock and whatever, and then this is the one that really just caught me.
Okay.
So I'm not saying it's my favorite song, but it's definitely in my top 3. I was definitely pleasantly surprised by it, and that's my last pick.
That is not my third pick, although when I heard this soundtrack right when it was coming out, I was shocked, given what I knew and had heard from Father MC. It was a 180, diametrically opposed, different style and sound and feel and aesthetic, so it really threw me off. But I liked it. Not my third pick. My third pick is actually Hidden Switches by Eric Sermon, one of the other singles. And one, the beat, the production is excellent, stellar. And that, to me, really drove it because it reminded me a lot of something that we could have got from EPMD back in primarily more in the 80s, because it's a little more of a stripped down musically. It's mainly just the breakbeat and not much else as far as musicality, but whenever breakbeats are done well, one of my favorite words to describe the music is muscular. When they're done so well and they're done so muscularly and they drive the song and really, again, what's next on the menu, if Hidden Switches was followed by the instrumental of Hidden Switches on the soundtrack, I'd have been just fine, because Eric Sermon's on there and he's doing his, braggadocio, playful rhymes that he normally does. But to me, it's really all about the beat. And I was just flabbergasted when I heard it, because I was excited and nervous to see what was Eric Sermon going to be doing on the solo side. And Hidden Switches, it's a great record. Always excited when it comes on and glad it's on Who's the Man. So, anything you want to add about Hidden Switches?
Well, he added it to his album. No pressure.
That's a good endorsement.
Yeah.
All right.
So good song. Like I said, it was fighting to be in my top 3, but I had to give it to Father MC. So it's a pretty good compilation.
Yes, I agree. So there you have it, y'all. You got my top 3. You got Amir's top 3. As always, hit us in the comments section. Let us know what you guys think of our picks from the Who's the Man soundtrack. And please subscribe. Please share our content. Tell a friend. Get them to subscribe if they haven't already so we can get these numbers up. And, of course, please join if you don't mind. That would really help us out. I'm Soren Baker.
Amir, Rahimi.
Man, Who's the Man? Taking us back. Great soundtrack. Glad we spoke on it. Let us know what you guys think. The comments are right there. Until next time.
In the beginning, hip-hop was ruled by the East Coast. Then the West Coast rose to prominence thanks to gangster rap.
Straight out of Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube.
Hip-hop changed the world. Gangster rap changed the narrative.
I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world.
And then changed the world again.
Cause I'll come and take your life away.
The history of gangster rap features unheard stories, unseen photos and documents, all with exclusive interviews from the founders and players who shaped gangster rap.
I think a real gangster rapper has to scare you a little bit.
The history of gangster rap written by veteran rap journalist Soren Baker. In stores now.
Yo, what up? This is DJ Quick. Be sure to pick up my homeboy Soren Baker's book, The History of Gangster Rap, if you really want to know what we do.